exclusive town hall meeting with Donald Trump, the Republican presidential frontrunner. Mr. Trump, good morning again. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
Congratulations on a huge win in New York this week. Normally, with that win and this stage of the race, you would basically have the nomination in your hand. This is a different kind of year, though. But let's say you do have the nomination. Let's say you're going to be the guy in the general election. You look at some of the polling right now. You have an enormous negative number. 68% of people say they can't support you. Would you admit you have a lot of work to do?
Well, I think it's going to go very quickly, frankly. I've been hit by 55,000 ads. I saw it on your show. 55,000 negative ads, and nobody else has. You know, you look at a guy like Kasich. He's never been hit by an ad because nobody cares, frankly. And no, it's true. No, it's so true. And Cruz isn't hit with negative ads, but, you know, they went after me both sides, my side, the other side. And despite that, I won Florida with almost 21 points, you know, in a landslide. I've won mostly landslides. I've won 22 or 24 states, and nobody else is even close. And, you know, the main thing, millions and millions of votes more than anybody else has. Like, you know.
But that's the Republican primary.
Yeah.
30 million people vote in the Republican primary, 130 million vote in the general election. And if you look at these polls and you look at the specifics and the swing voters who decide elections in this country, in poll after poll, 69% of women disapprove, 67% of independents, young people, 70% unfavorable. That's not just one poll, it's several. So what work do you have to do? How are you going to convince them that you are their candidate?
When people see that I'm going to bring jobs back to this country, when they see that I'm going to strengthen up the military, when they see that I'm going to have strong borders like nobody else can have, and we will build the wall, and Mexico will pay for the wall, by the way. But when they see that we're getting rid of Obamacare, which is a total disaster, and we're going to be replacing it with something good. When they see we're going to get rid of Common Core, which is also likewise a total catastrophe, and we're bringing education locally so it can be run by local communities and the parents of the children, and it's going to be wonderful and beautiful and much better. When they see what we're going to do, and maybe above all, when they see we're going to we are going to make some of the great trade deals. Every deal we have is a total disaster. Our country's losing a fortune. Now, women, if you saw my big win in New York, it was a landslide. It's like unprecedented. Women were one of the highest demographics.
But again, Savannah's point is a valid one, though. It's different in a Republican primary that isn't a general election.
But I think it'll come along.
And some of the things you've said, and I'm not going to go into all the words, I don't think we have to, and some of the insults, but about women and Mexicans and Muslims, you can't unsay those things. So how do you convince them? Because, by the way, they've been listening to all the things you just said about jobs and the wall.
But I think it's about, look, I did some things, and I've said some things in fun. I've said it as an entertainer doing The Apprentice, and you know how successful. I just saw Steve Burkhardt said they wanted to renew me for 2 years, and I didn't do it because of this, but a lot of that was entertainment. There is nobody that respects women more than I do. There is nobody that will take care of women's health issues better than I will. Hillary cannot do it. Believe me, she doesn't have the strength, the energy. She will not be able to do it. And I think that women will be big fans. Look, they want to see security for our country, and I rate #1 in every poll on security with the military. The military is endorsing me. I just got endorsed by the Border Patrol. 16,000 agents. They've never done that before.
Let's get to some of our town hall questioners, because I think Willie's got one.